a very close friend of mine, who was doing 40 days by the Kotel. And when you do 40 days the Segula, 40 days by the Kotel, every day without missing a day, saying the same tefillah, day by day, a wonderful, very powerful Segula. He told me that the most difficult time to do it is Shabbat. You can't drive out to the Kotel, you can't come by bus. You got to walk. My yeshiva was an hour away from the Kotel. So what most of the guys did, they would go Friday afternoon, they would say the tefillah for Friday, and then they would wait the Friday night, pray by the Kotel Friday night, and then after Arbit they would say the next tefillah because it's already considered the next day, Shabbat. Like this they wouldn't have to come back to the Kotel twice. And then they would take the long walk back. But the time you got back home Friday night, yeshiva, the food was gone. So they would always look for places in the old city next to the Kotel to eat. A friend of mine told me that he was there one Friday night waiting for somebody to walk over to him and ask him to eat. Which, by the way, it's something so beautiful to see. In America, we don't get to see these things that much. It's worth it. And I would push you. An opportunity if you have. If you're going to Israel in the near future, and even if you're not, go. Spend the Friday night by the Kotel. You'll see incredible things that you've never seen. The achdut of the Jewish people is unbelievable there Friday night. The singing, the dancing of L'cha Dodi. How 500 strong, the boys of Yeshivat HaKotel come dancing down with their Rebbes. And they come to the Kotel area and they dance together with the Hasidim. I mean, that's a sight to see. You blink, you thought Mashiach came. It was beautiful. All different types of Jews from all different types of walks of life. But then after, when it's all done, anyone who needs a place to eat, they go up to the wall and they wait. And people walk up and they offer, do you need a place to eat? Come home with me. This guy was very shy, my friend. So he stood in the corner by the wall. And all the other people who need places to eat were grabbed up right away. But it looks like that he was out of luck as well. Because he was standing there alone and basically everybody left. And there was only one guy left by the Kotel. An older guy with tattered clothing. And he said he felt really bad to even ask the guy to go eat by him because he didn't look like he had much for himself. But nonetheless, before he can even ask, this guy sees my friend standing there alone. So he runs up to him and he says to him, do you need a place to stay? Do you need a place to eat? Please, come. I don't have a lot in my house, but whatever I have, I'll give you with open arms. And he said, okay. And he went back with him to the house. And he saw what he thought would be a house turned into a hole in the wall. Literally. This man lived in an apartment that was 1.5 rooms. When he walked into the apartment, my friend told me there were mattresses all over the floors. It was one big bedroom. Bli Ayin Hara, the man had 11 children. And everywhere you turned, there were more mattresses. And they slept all over the apartment. And he said to himself, oh boy, I really got myself into one now. And he walked up to the table. And he sees the table. Had so many chairs around it. And he's thinking to himself, he saw that there was just a little bit salt on the table, chalot, there weren't even plates, there was very little food in the house. And he felt so terrible, he said he wanted to leave. He didn't want to take the food from them, but how could he? He can't walk out now. But then he said he was so happy he didn't. Because at that moment he saw something incredible. Right when the father said, children, we're about to eat, these 11 children come running up to the table. Each one has their own spot. Each one steps aside and pulled out the chair for the other child. Each child walks up to the table. They push the chair, the older ones to the younger ones. Now everyone is sitting at their spot in the table. And there's such a serenity and a silence by the table. The father picked up the kos and made kiddush. You couldn't hear a pin drop. He said he sat there by this table and he felt the Shekhinah in this house. They didn't have a lot. But they had something that people who may have a lot may lack. They had such happiness in that house. They might not have had a lot of food. But he said to me, I will never forget that meal. That was one of the best Friday night meals I've ever been at. I hardly ate anything. There was very little food at all. He said, they gave me a little piece of chicken. That was the main dish. Not a whole chicken. It was just a drumstick. That was it. They gave him a little piece of the challah. They had a little bit bava ganoush, but that's it. He said that was the whole meal. But he said the singing, the happiness, the children giggling and laughing, the achdut, the love. He said that was achnasat orchim he'll never forget. Because the environment gave to him more than any food can ever do. That was Abraham Avinu. He was even able to create an environment that made an indelible, lasting impression for angels who would never forget him for hundreds of years. Later on, bailing out Moshe Rabbeinu, who looked like Abraham Avinu. What a powerful lesson. It's not the food. Yes, don't get me wrong. Obviously, a person is very happy when they get to eat. But it's more than just the food. It's more than the spread. It's you. Chesed, Achnasat Orchim means give from you. Give a little bit of you to the person. Give them a conversation. Give them a warmth. Laugh with them. Let them walk out of your home feeling great. That's more than all the food you can give.